Facebook and TikTok. And welcome back to another episode of the Health Podcast. It is me, as always, TJ here once again. What a week it was. What a dang week. As you can tell by the video's title and the backdrop of the video, even though this is just the audio podcast this week, guys, I want to give you a snazzy little visual element with the video as well. But anyhow, what a week, guys. So, the elephant in the room is that McDonald's is now including Nintendo toys in their Happy Meals. I'm joking. I'm just being stupid, guys. No, the elephant in the room is, if you like it or not, Trump has been elected a non-consecutive second term. So he is making history in a way just as Harris would have as being the first female president. Well, Trump isn't the first female president, but he is the first president in a long time that has gotten 2 non-consecutive terms. So this is one of those videos you don't want to stay tuned into if politics triggers you, because this will be the wrong time for you to tune in. Because what I do, if you guys don't know me personally, I come at politics from a purely analytical perspective. Okay, I look at political events and historical happenings from a case analysis perspective, meaning that I try my best not to bring emotion into it. But at the same time, I don't fault you if you do bring emotion into politics. I don't fault anyone for that. Because there are, on a serious level, there are real social issues going on and impacting every American, whether they like it or not. And that includes women with things like aggression, more broadly stated, women's reproductive health care rights. But also, I consider poverty a social issue, and people being able to afford food and necessities and paying bills to literally keep a roof over their heads. That is a social issue as well, in my estimation. I feel it is. So I come at it from both angles, and from both perspectives I try to understand. And so the one thing that I try to say, if you want to call it, I preach it even, I preach trying to understand those perspectives. Instead of saying, how the hell can you vote for Trump, you damn idiot? What's wrong with you? He's a dictator that's we're never gonna have another election. On the other side of it, you get these people that are just being idiots too, saying, your body, my choice, there's never going to be a female president. You know, Harris, we were not ready as a country for a black woman president, let alone a woman president. Oh, yeah. You know, all these things. And it's not a laughing matter, but I'm just chuckling because people are so extreme on both sides. So what I tell people, and what I posted on Facebook too, is take a step back. If you find that you're becoming overwhelmed, depressed, it's things like that when it comes to politics, turn off your computer. Well, I say computer, but I guess a lot of people have transitioned to just phones, or iPads, or tablets now. But whatever, turn off your device and just stop. stop. Stop thinking about it. Stop dwelling on it. And I know people will say from a psychology perspective, look, TJ, it's not that simple. And it's like, I know it's not that simple, guys, but you have to try. Try not to consume your mindset. And that in no way is meant to say that you shouldn't still care, especially with women's healthcare reproductive rights, especially those. I mean, everyone will have a different perspective on that. I'm very comfortable stating my opinions. It's not that. So this is another side tangent here. A lot of people like to ask me, well, TJ, why are you so afraid to speak about politics on Facebook or whatever? And it's not that I'm so much afraid, but I try my best, usually, to keep the divisive rhetoric to a zero. I don't want to say anything that causes debate, the fighting, because I almost think even a healthy debate is just unnecessary energy. What is the sense of debating? If you guys really think about it, what does that really mean? If we're debating politics on Facebook, I mean, yeah, if it gets you going, if it makes you tingle deep down inside, fighting with people about politics, then you do you. You do you, kitten. The rest of us like me who don't want to do it, there's a good reason for that. It's because it doesn't accomplish anything. So that's why I don't go blatantly saying anything. But I will always answer questions directly, privately, because I have been accused of having no opinions or more specifically being afraid of something. It's not that. I'll tell you, I am very middle of the road. That describes my politics. I have some views that could be seen as liberal and others that could be seen as possibly staunchly conservative. But in terms of human rights and things like LGBTQ and rights and women's health care rights when it comes to reproductive freedom, needing abortion, I do believe the government should stay the hell out of that. That is not just a liberal position, though. And I think that has actually fallen on deaf ears in recent times, because if you think about it, a long-time staple of conservatism has been to have the government stay out of your business as much as possible. So how does that really apply? If you think about government passing legislation to limit abortion, how does that really tie into the long-time staple of conservatism of limited government, which I do believe in? I believe in the government being able to serve the population or serve the constituents, if you will, but at the same time not restricting us in any way that is detrimental to us. And I mean, I guess that's kind of the definition of libertarianism. That's not how I identify myself, but it could be. I mean, some of that is, you could think of Ron Paul as a libertarian who really would have agreed with most of those principles. But I'm just seeing it from a basic standpoint of, I guess, also just decency. Now, I say that very carefully. I don't mean decency as in you can't disagree. That's not my intent. Because there are people that have staunch, passionate objections to abortion, right? And that is understandable, it's acceptable, and it's fine. But in my stance, is that the government shouldn't have the ability to restrict it. If a woman needs an abortion, especially but not limited to in the case of incest, rape, medical necessity, because this is actually a serious issue that I want to touch on, because this is not just a talking point in some meme on Facebook. This is real. This is real life, folks. This is life or death politics. There are women that are dying from this issue. If they develop an infection or other pregnancy-related issues, and sadly, tragically, they have to abort the pregnancy, and doctors, especially in Texas, can't really do that. And so it's like, I'm not just calling out Texas per se, it's other states obviously too, but, Texas is known as one of the staunchest red states that there is. But the thing is, no matter what, red state, blue state, purple state, it doesn't matter. Women should never be limited with what they need for their reproductive health care. It's just that simple. And again, I emphasize, it doesn't mean you can't disagree. Everyone has an entitlement to have a personal belief system, right? They can believe what they want, but don't ask the government to pass legislation restricting it for those that don't agree. That's my stance on that. Now, with that being said, let's get to the election itself, right? So, as soon as Trump was declared the winner, late on election night, I forget the exact time, I don't know, I think it was late in the evening, early in the morning hours of Wednesday, I think Trump was declared the winner. And I know Wednesday, Harris conceded to Trump. She called, and Joe Biden congratulated Trump, which, I know my staunch Trump supporting friends will say, but TJ, and I'm gonna still say it though, you have to give Biden and Harris credit. They were very graceful, and despite a painful loss for the Democrats, they still acted gracefully. And I'll leave it to my Trump supporting friends to decide if they if they feel like Trump afforded Biden and Harris the same grace when he lost in 2020. And I know that's complicated because a lot of his base does not feel like he lost at all in 2020, even though he absolutely did. But when I say Trump supporters versus Harris supporters, I say that because, again, folks, I'm coming at it from an analytical perspective. I'm not classifying myself as either one. Although I did have my supported candidate, I won't discuss that though. There's no right not to. But I have my supported candidate, but I analyze politics. It's what I do, just to keep that clear. So, anyhow, as soon as this happened, as I knew it would, the Democrats started playing the blame game. And it kind of entertained me, amused me, if you will, because Nancy Pelosi ended up saying publicly, or some kind of interview she gave, which is verified, it's not fake news. She did say that, Joe Biden should have dropped out a year and a half earlier and just obviously chosen not to run for a second term so that we could have had time to have a fair primary process, and Harris would have had time to run a more robust campaign. That's the gist of what Pelosi said. And it just made me chuckle because I hope that she's not representative of how the Democrats are thinking. Because I'll tell you, what really happened was a classic case of just bad political strategy. And I think a lot of liberal progressives, especially the progressive wing of the liberals, they don't think that political strategy applied because they pretty much assumed that they had the moral high ground in this election. And so, because it was a common thought that, Trump couldn't possibly win. He's a criminal. He's this, he's that. But what the liberal progressives fail to realize is that Trump's clear base does not see him as that. He is not a criminal in their eyes. He's not bad at all in their eyes. They see his criminal conviction as, in the other cases too, as just a weaponization of the DOJ. So that's where it comes into. I think the Democrats, by default, meaning the liberals and the progressives, they really thought that because in their minds they have the moral high ground, they stand for all these great things, they thought they just had a very good chance. And what they fail to realize is that, yes, social issues and moral high ground is great. But if people can't afford to live, especially demographic sectors of the population, even we're talking Latinos, African Americans voted for Trump, it's because they felt marginalized. And they felt like the Democrats have become the party of almost elites. And you might disagree, but I'm just stating the facts. This is just analyzing the facts, right? The Democrats, in their minds, not the Democrats' minds, but as in the voters who voted for Trump, the Democrats and the liberals have become too much of this wine and cheese elitist party who don't want to listen to those who do support Trump, or even inclined to support Trump. I don't know if Biden's comments days before the election saying that whoever votes for Trump are garbage, I don't think that necessarily helped their case, but I don't believe that's what caused. I don't think that took any votes away from the Democrats either. I believe, in my estimation, analysis, if you will, it really came down to just a matter of the economy. And I know a lot of the pundits will say it was mostly the economy, but I do believe it was also the immigration crisis, illegal immigration crisis, the border. And, that might be the one area that, if someone wants an example of how I'm middle of the road, not just liberal, not just conservative, this will be where I could be accused of being a conservative. I do think the Democrats are way, way too lenient on the border crisis. And I'll be the first to admit, Trump didn't get enough done either in his first term. And maybe he will in his second. But it is a shameful situation with how many illegal immigrants are pouring into this country. And I'm not even suggesting that they're committing crimes. That's not it. I'm not saying they're all bad people, so don't get me twisted with that, guys. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying that we have to be a nation of laws, okay? And laws have to apply, of course, to the citizens, but especially so to also illegal aliens or immigrants. I know aliens isn't PC, but it's not politically correct. But illegal immigrants who are not legally here. It's fine for America to be the land of opportunity, and that's great. And yes, a lot of these illegal immigrants are coming here for a better life, a better chance at whatever, and they are escaping violence in their home countries for other gains. I understand this. And I think all humans can have a level of compassion without verging into what I call the stupid compassion territory. I think there's a difference. I do. I think there's a fine line between stupid compassion and compassion. And I think the hardcore liberal progressives really don't grasp that, because what they're doing is these illegal immigrants are coming in by the thousands, and they are receiving assistance. And this assistance could be going to the many hundreds and thousands in each state, homeless Americans that have been here legally and need help. That's all I'm trying to say, is that we could be using those funds that are going to this crisis in a better way. And look at what happened. I'll use this as one example, right? So I believe it was 2023. Last year, there was a case in my area, which I'll just say I live north of Albany, New York, and this happened around the Albany area. We had a situation where I believe it was Florida shipped buses full of illegal immigrants to New York City, and there was no room. So some of them got sent to a hotel in the Albany area that was currently being occupied by, I don't know if they weren't homeless since they had a place to live, but they were veterans and disabled and elderly. And this is not fake news, this is 100% accurate. It was veterans and disabled and elderly residents in this hotel, American citizens. And they were forced to leave. The federal government forced them to vacate. And so these people were they were made to leave. And I was watching the news coverage of it, and I was in shock. I was in disbelief. That was wrong. In my opinion, that was wrong. And I would say, in a lot of people's opinions, it was wrong. American citizens that were elderly, disabled, and in some cases veterans should have never been made to leave the hotel they were living in, that they were placed there by the county because illegal immigrants needed a place to live, and New York City didn't know what to do with them. And that was wrong. And that doesn't make it any less human. It doesn't mean that we're looking at these illegal immigrants saying, you're not human, you're scum, you're dirt. That's not it. Now, I can't speak for the Republicans, the conservatives that do have a bit more hateful mindset of that. I'm sure there is. But the thing is that that's just reasonable thinking to say that's wrong. That's where I'm coming from with that. But then there's the other side to this. And there's extreme thinking on both sides, is how I'm going to end this video. And so my point is, extremist thinking on both sides is not helpful. It's not going to ease the divide in this country. I like to say that America is a fine fabric that is turned right down the middle. And to sew the fabric of this country back up, we need to tamper down the divisive rhetoric, the extremist language on both sides. And I know, my liberal friends will say, what do you mean? What do you mean? We're not saying nothing, TJ. And I hate to say that, but the thing is, just as I say conservatives were wrong to start that conspiracy about, Trump actually didn't win or didn't lose in 2020, they call it the big lie. That was wrong too. I will say he should have conceded to Biden in 2020. I'll call it like I see it. But on the same hand, it also doesn't help to say this stuff now, like Trump will not lead the White House in a few years. He wants to remove democracy. He wants to be a dictator, and we're never going to have elections again in this country. Yada yada yada. I know it's easy to buy into that mindset when you're upset about your values not being represented with the winning party of an election. But I promise you guys, all that is divisive thinking. It's divisive rhetoric. It's not real. The election is over. And the Democrats have another couple of years to better strategize, and Trump is done after a few years, in 2028, he's done. He's not going to try to take over democracy. He's not going to try to take away elections. There's nothing in reality that's not based in reality, is what I'm trying to say. All we have to do now is both sides have to try to meet in the middle the best we can, and if not that, at least have constructive discussions. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this podcast and found it somewhat useful or entertaining or whatever. But I apologize again for the audio quality. I'm using my Logitech MX Rio webcams mics, which they're supposed to be professional quality studio mics built into this. I don't know if it really sounds like that. I might try to lessen the audio a little bit, but anyhow, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you all very soon. Please stay well, keep your minds and your bodies healthy. Everything is going to be A-okay, just fine, I promise you that. But until next time, peace out for now.